Chaos Head Noah. If you are God and the delusion becomes reality, about what kind of the noids you get? Is it the sensual world, the despotic society, the destructive sanctions, or... Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone, both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar Dee Eight. This is Let's Play Chaos Head Noah. This will be a blind playthrough.
視線が空から降ってくる。その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、眼差しは熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、雨のように僕
That's better.
「視線が空から降ってくる。その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、眼差しは熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、雨のように僕へと降り注ぐ。僕を見るな。雨の冷たさより、背中を預けている瓦礫の冷たさのせいで、さっきから体の震えが止まらない。ひどく寒い。突き刺さってくる 誰のものかもわからない天からの視線。それから逃げるように、僕はわずかに首を持ち上げて周囲を見回す。そこにあるのは崩壊した街。そこにあるのは絶望。そこにあるのは死。そこにあるのは無。誰もいない。誰も動いていない。誰も生きていない。聞こえるのはただ降り続ける雨の音だけ。このまますべてを、生きているものも死んでいるものも、すべてを優しく包み込んで洗い流してしまうんだろうか。全部の出来事が単なる妄想だったらよかったんだけど、どうやらそうでもないらしい。体が動かない。動かせるのはかろうじて首と瞳だけ。体が震えているけど、そんなのただの生理現象でしかない。僕の意志じゃない。僕は身を震わせたいなんて思ってない。僕の自由にならないなら、こんなの僕の体じゃない。あるいは、生まれた時から僕は自由なんかじゃなかったかもしれない。心の保管してある場所なんて誰にもわからないんだ。それなのに、一体誰がこの体の中に僕の心があるって言い切れるんだ。でも、だったら僕はどこにいたんだろう。僕はここにいるのかな。僕はどこにもいないのかな。すべてが静止している壊れてしまった世界に、ふと死の雨以外の音が響く。無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの夢。君は誰？その肌が青白く見えるのは雨の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも君がもう死んでいるから。でも彼女は震えていなかった。そして前髪で隠れそうになっているその瞳は、奥を見るな。ひどく悲しそうにも見える。狂気じみているようにも見える。何も映していないようにも見える。もしも世界には僕と彼女の二人だけしかいなくて、こうしてお互いだけを永遠に見つめ合っていたら、僕の世界は彼女の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の世界は僕の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の瞳に映るものは僕。僕の瞳に映るものは彼女。そう考えると、世界は途端に矮小化する。
ねえ。
不意に僕の耳に届くとてもきれいなノイズ。彼女はうなだれて、両手を左右に広げる。まるであの雨雲の上へ向けて飛び立とうとするかのように。あるいはこの雨すべてを受け止めようとするかのように。
あなたは別に
うなだれた彼女の表情は僕の位置からも伺い知ることができない。 雨の薄幕の向こうで、君はどんな顔をしている？
殺してあげる。
天使、乱舞する光の羽は、僕を祝福しているのか、それとも、ああ、そうか。理解したよ。それで、僕を殺してくれるんだね。ゆっくりと、倒れている僕の前に彼女が膝をつく。いまだに彼女はうなだれたまま。僕の頭をそっと抱えてくる。僕を見てくれないことに、僕はほっとして、ただ身を委ねた。耳元でささやき、きれいなノイズ。でも、よく聞こえない。暖かくて、柔らかくて、優しくて、甘美な感触。それは麻酔のようで、不思議なことに体の震えがゆっくりと収まっていく。彼女のかすかな鼻息が僕の頬をくすぐる。とても甘い匂い。ふと胸に圧迫感を覚えた。彼女の持っていた大きな剣が僕の胸の皮膚を裂き、肉をえぐり、骨の間を縫い、ゆっくりと体の中に沈み込んできている。でも、彼女のキスという麻酔にかけられて、もう痛みを感じない。こんなにも優しく殺してくれるから、不意に切なくなって、涙があふれそうになって、それをごまかすために、彼女の頭越しに雨を落とし続けている鈍色の空を見上げた。空が滲んでいるのは、雨のせい、涙のせい。もう、あの視線も感じない。もう、何もない。薄れゆく意識の中で、僕は空へと手を伸ばす。誰か、教えて。僕たちのあの空は、どこへ行ったんだろう。
その確率は天文学的
You can't see a gaze. It can see you, but you can't see it. It's weird. For as long as I could remember, I had often felt a gaze staring at me from somewhere. I would turn around and nobody would be there, but I'd be sure somebody was looking at me. I could feel this sensation, like something crawling on my neck. Was I just too self-conscious? Did I have some kind of phobia about being looked at? Up until elementary school, I honestly believed that it was God. God is watching me, I would say. I wrote an essay about something like that. Of course, looking back, I realize how silly it was. I was the biggest Trinity dork. If somebody were to ever read that essay, I'd be so embarrassed I'd never leave my house again. I still remember the thing's title. Whose eyes are those? The back of the chair I was resting in made a creaking sound, like the voice of an old woman.
僕を見るな。
Don't look at me. I whispered those words as I looked up at the ceiling, feeling sick and annoyed. Of course, no one responded. This was my room. I lived alone. Nobody was here but me. Just for the hell of it, I turned around. The room was longer than it was wide, and it was a little dark. For in the future we all live in pods. The only light in the room came from my computer desk light. There were no windows, so of course it was dark. Since I had no way of looking outside, I had no way of knowing if it was night or day. Does it matter? I turned toward a corner of the dark room and spoke to no one in particular.
僕の名前は西條匠、17歳。水明学園2年。と言っても学校にはほとんど行ってないけど。
My name is Takumi Nishijo. I'm 17 years old. I'm a second-year student at Sumaya Academy. I barely ever go to school, though.
まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。
Well, I guess I'm pretty smart, at least.
定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。しかもそれなりに上位の点数を取ってるからね。
I always show up to take my tests, and I usually get above average grades.
頭はいいんだ。
Yeah, I'm pretty smart. Of course, nothing happened when I said this. Nobody appeared out of the darkness. The dark space just existed silently. But darkness stimulates the mind, makes it see delusions. Not being able to see whatever's there makes it an unknown. You know in your head what's impossible, but somewhere inside your heart you imagine terrible things lurking within the darkness. Jeez, whatever a scary delusion popped into my mind, my head always ran away with it. I kept talking to try and shake it out of my mind.
僕は現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。
Right now I live alone, away from home. I mean, in Shibuya.
この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど。
I live on top of the Kurenai building, which my dad's real estate company owns.
その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
They rent me a really cheap little house here, made out of a shipping container.
街の環境は最悪。僕が住んでる新船町は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし、すぐ近くにラブホ街もあるし。
Living in the city sucks. The part of Shibuya I live in, Shinsensho, has lots of little hills that tire you out when you're walking. There are a bunch of love hotels right next to where I live too.
ここが秋葉なら最高だったのに。
I really wish I lived in Akihabara.
ほんと渋谷ってひどい街だ。円数で言うとディーンズバレーくらいひどい。
Yeah, Shibuya is a total shithole. It's as bad as Dean's Valley in ESO. ESO was the MMORPG that I had made my life's work. It's short for Empire Sweeper Online. I spent almost all day and almost all night playing the game, passing my time in the world of Baselard. Dean's Valley is an area in ESO with a lot of really aggravating monsters in it. They use all kinds of obnoxious status ailment attacks, but they don't even drop decent items. Anybody who grinds there is an idiot. Good players give up on it quickly and head to the next area, the Forest Liet. And obviously, I'm a good player.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。
So yeah, this town with its DQNs and love capitalists need to be blasted off the face of the earth.
でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。
This room, though, isn't so bad.
PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。
My computer and my internet connection are both first rate.
まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
For a student, I guess, it's a pretty good base of operations. Oh, that's why I called this room the base. Of course, nothing in the room moved, except for me. Talking to myself was starting to make me feel like an idiot, so I decided to stop introducing myself to whoever was watching me.
それにしても汚い部屋だな。
This place is freaking filthy, though. It smelled moldy. The air was so stale and damp, you could feel it on your skin. The floor was piled high with empty plastic drink bottles and trays left over from convenience store lunches. The bed was stacked high with H games. I always ended up having to sleep up on the sofa.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。
Clean your room,
で
you filthy
僕か。
sicko. What idiot made this mess anyway? Oh, I guess it was me. My creepy laugh kind of annoyed me, so I kicked the plastic bottle at my feet. It flew up almost high enough to hit my figure shelf. I screamed and leaned forward, using my own body to block it. I've got almost 100 wives, big sisters and daughters, and I can't let them get hurt. They keep me going, so they're very important to me. I cleaned and organized the shelf once a week. It was the only cleaning I did. Every day I tried to find new angles and positions to make them look cuter. I didn't want my beloved daughters and sisters getting dusty, so I always made sure to clean them. I breathed a sigh of relief and tossed the bottle into a corner, then faced back toward my PC. The PC sat in the far corner of my room. Next to the monitor was a figure from my favorite anime, BT, or Bloodtoon the Animation, Sierra Tan 1/8 scale pre-awakening version. She smiled at me while posing cutely.
Sarah, kawaii yo, Sarah.
Sarah, you're so cute, Sarah. Not how I would pronounce it, but okay. I whispered as Sierra Tan. I don't know what the suffix tan actually means. Like I've heard chan and san and dono and tan I don't know. And I stared into each other's eyes for a minute. Then I gulped down on the bottle of soda next to the computer. It was lukewarm, but that didn't bother me. Now then, time for some ESO. I sank down into the chair and put my hands on the keyboard. Just the act of sitting at the computer was enough to calm me. My ESO character, Nightheart, was a paladin, already on his second reincarnation. He was level 50, the max of course. He was also the highest ranked player of any active server. Almost every player knew the name Lightning Fast Nightheart, and they all treated me like a god. Rare weapons, rare armor, rare magic. I had it all. I had 95% of all the rare items in the game. Not as many as I wanted, honestly. And I had more money points than I could ever use in a lifetime. RMT, or real money trading, was how I made money to use in the real world. I had enough to survive for 6 months without having to get a part-time job. I was a master of the chat tool. I used it for almost all of my communication. I'd even saved a life on Atcha in a huge message board once, and I was always there whenever a festival was going on. Alright, and I had way more than 100 friends on Fripara. That's a social network. Respect, trust, it was all right there. I didn't go to school. It wasn't that I didn't want to, just there was no point. I did all my studying on the internet, and obviously you can do that at home. Of course, you needed to attend a certain number of classes to graduate, so I went to So I went to just enough to get the bare minimum passing grade. This was the smartest way for a student to live. My parents were pretty obnoxious about this stuff. So I made myself a schedule for when I'd go to school. Advanced physics, contemporary Japanese language, English, geography, physical education. According to the sheet, all I had to do was go to school 2.5 times a week. The people who went every day called me a creepy otaku. But if you asked me, I'd tell you that they were morons for going just because someone told them they should. Anyway, my life here's not that bad. Oh crap, I got so distracted by that gaze, I forgot I was talking to Grim. What's wrong? You're not responding. Did you fall asleep? Hey, Nightheart. Grim was the screen name of a guy I always partied up with in ESO. I'd never met him in real life, but we talked all the time online. He brought me a lot of valuable information. He was like my own personal informant, you could say. I sat down and began to type at the keyboard. Do I actually have to do anything, or... Okay, we're waiting. Sorry, I didn't fall asleep. I kinda spaced out. LOL. You must be really tired. You not sleeping enough? Doing hentai stuff with your girlfriend? LOL. All day, all night. I'm not into 3D girls. LOL. Grim and I would talk about all kinds of things. Since I couldn't see his face, it was easy to tell him anything. Of course, in the real world, that's not how it would go. Ah, so you're a 2D man then, huh? H-games? You're really into hentai mood tonight, huh? You always have really perverted delusions, though, right? You used to talk about them. Always. You really were into them. Something about doing naughty things with a girl in a school swimsuit. Was I? I don't really remember. Anyway, if that's what you want to talk about, let's discuss something near to my heart. School swimsuit plus glasses. A real school swimsuit has the girl's name written on the chest. Does it? I don't think so. I can't read the typing in the chat back there. You need to be able to see that little crease. I can't read what's being typed back there. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're choosing what was up there. Okay. Come on, you like glasses, girls? Yeah, that actually is a thing in a lot of animes, it seems. Is it odd I want to like be able to close the black menu, like text boxed, to see, you know, what wallpaper we have on the computer? I assume it's the Sarah figure we have right there. Well, it's like I have an old school monitor. Normally you take your glasses off when you're going swimming, right? And yet the girl doesn't. I mean, well, technically, I don't know. I mean, I imagine you would still need it if you needed to see. There's probably ways around that, probably goggles. And yet the girl, that's what gets the delusions really like. Complete and utter perv. That's our Nightheart. We fear him, but we love him. LOL. Calm down, man. I mean, maybe I did get a little excited. I try to be cool. Silent type. Cool. LOL. Don't laugh. Anyway, what were we talking about before I fell asleep? I mean, I'm sure it was ESO stuff. You forgot? Come on, man. We were talking about the murders in the 3D world. The murders? In the 3D world? That's where I live. What was he talking about? Shogun entered the room. Hello, Shogun. I don't... Ah, it's like the V for victory. Oh, peace sign. Say, hey, buddy. Sup? I said. But Shogun didn't reply. But nobody came. Was this asshole ignoring me? It's been 2 seconds! I was trying to be friendly here. Didn't he know who I was? I was lightning fast Nightheart, damn it. This is supposed to be a no lurker channel anyway. Well, whatever, I decided to ignore him. Not everyone can respond instantly. It's a bit unrealistic. That's the nice thing about the internet. You don't have to care about other people, unless you want to. So, what were we talking about? The murders. I don't care about anything 3D. It's probably something stupid anyway, right? I guess. But pretty shocking still. Shocking? Some kind of grisly serial killings or something. A lot of bad stuff keeps happening lately. More Guro pictures? Alright, you can't handle Guro, lol. That's normal? I mean, I can handle it. No, I actually didn't want to see any of that stuff. But there were a lot of fakes and altered images going around lately. And trolls loved to set all kinds of traps. You ended up seeing a lot of that stuff, whether you wanted to or not.
まあ、少しは目が慣れてきちゃってるのかも。
Well, I guess I'm starting to get used to it. And to think you're the strongest paladin in Base Lord. I don't PK though. PK meant player killing. It's when you attacked a stranger and steal your equipment or money points. Only DQNs did that, and DQNs were thugs and losers, the lowest form of life. I'm no Chew. I don't do things that would make other people upset. I never violate ESO's rules. That's my policy. I did a shit ton of RMT though. Laughy face. Yeah, you're all the hero we love and adore, lol. New generation. You know about it, right? Question marks? What the hell was that? It wasn't something I already knew about, right? Grim seemed to act like I was supposed to know about it. Did we hit her head? The New Generation Madness. They call it New Gen Online for short. It's the weird serial murderers going on in Shibuya right now. It's all happening right near your house, lol. But I only knew the basic outline. I hadn't really looked into it. What does that even say? I searched for New Gen and got a hit immediately. Dulude search? Let me see.
この1ヶ月の間に渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。
Over the past month are referred to as New Gen.
その犠牲者は胎児を
There are
含め
7 victims
て7
in
人。
total, including an unborn baby.
1つ目の事件は友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
Who jumped off a skyscraper together.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
In a man's stomach.
これマジかよ。
Seriously? I felt a cold chill run down my spine. I found myself turning around again and glancing around the dark room. Taboo. News had a lot of old articles about New Gen, so I quickly skimmed them. Supposedly the whole internet was talking about it, calling it the New Generation Madness. There were 2 incidents. One was a murder case that was so brutal that some TV stations weren't even willing to have their anchors describe it. And the first one, the group dive off a skyscraper, there were rumors that it might have been a murder too. The patterns and friends of all the deceased said they weren't the type to commit suicide. There was no sign of a motive, and from a lot of other pieces of circumstantial evidence, it was supposedly impossible to believe that they were about to kill themselves. I took a look, starting to shake and shiver. Not really, don't care. Here. Site link. Look at this. What is it? A picture of the
グリムのやつ、
corpse.
僕をバカにして楽しんでるな。
Grim's enjoying making fun of me, huh? Why'd you do that in Anakin Skywalker voice? Fuck you. He did this stuff sometimes. But if I let him get me, I'd lose my reputation as Nightheart. No matter what I was in the real world, in ESO I was a god. The strongest. I knew everything. I was stronger than everybody. I was a knight fighting for justice. Nobody was going to make fun of me. It's Zamasu, but as an otaku. I worked up my courage and clicked on the URL. What the hell was this picture? Hello, you got me. LOL, LOL. Who drew this? I whipped it up in 2 minutes, just now. I still want to see my background wallpaper. You're our generation's Picasso. Anyway, that was fun. But I'm gonna go to sleep. Night. See you tomorrow in Base Lard. Grim left the room. Current members too. Alright. That Shogun guy was still here. I totally forgotten about him. Not that he mattered. I wasn't feeling that tired. So I decided to do some grinding in ESO. Oh wait, today was the day Bloodtoon aired. I didn't have a TV in my room. All I needed was a PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも
Just
行ってお
15
こう
more
かな。
minutes till it starts, huh? I guess I'll go to the bathroom first. I looked at the figure of Sierra-tan next to my monitor and grinned. I was going to see her today. I couldn't wait. Just as I went to close the chat window, though.
あれ?
Huh? Shogun had typed something.
なんだよ、
But why
こい
is
つ
he
急
talking
に。
all of a sudden? I guess he didn't want Grim to see whatever he was going to send. I thought he was a lurker, Chew. From the file type, it looked like a link to an image, but someone I didn't know, and someone who I'd never even talked to me, was suddenly sending me a link? I gulped, without even realizing I'd done so. I didn't know why, but I felt a terrible premonition, one I'd never felt with any interaction online before. Of course, I didn't want to click it. I glanced over at the clock. There were only 12 minutes left until my date with Sierra-tan. I needed to wrap this up fast. What the heck kind of Kume trap is this? LOL. The world changes if you click it. Lol, what? I tried to act like he wasn't scaring me. Honestly, I didn't even want to talk to this guy. He was making me nervous. I could feel myself sweating. Was this Shogun guy even Japanese? If he wasn't, there'd be no way I could talk to him. Sorry for scaring you. Ha! He was talking normally. I felt a little relieved. Nah, it's cool, man. Why were you looking? Didn't somebody tell you to lurk for 6 months before you could type? I was thinking. Where are you from? For some reason, there was a strange pause. Shibuya. The articles I just read about, the new generation incidents, came racing back into mind. Just envisioning them in my mind was bad enough. If I had seen them in reality, I don't think I could have handled it. A man's stomach ripped open, the body of an unborn baby stuffed inside. And when those 5 friends jumped off a building, they were probably just chunks of meat after they landed. Just imagining it made me want to vomit. I quickly shook my head to get the images out of my mind. This Shogun guy was just so shady. It was making me delusional when I didn't need to be. I wished he would just go away. I'm from Shibuya too. A lot of weird stuff's been happening here lately, huh? It's not over.
なんだこれ。
Shibuya, shake and shiver. Fun. Air apostrophe 10 x int air tilde 40 equals IR2. I don't know what that means, but somehow I wonder, is that the measurements for the shipping container that the main character is living inside of? Was this Shogun guy just crazy? I'm really smart and I'd never seen that formula before. It's probably I decided to run a search for it. At times like this, it was great to have access to an internet connection. I think it's the measuring parameters for the thing we live in. So it's the measurements for our house.
あれ、
Huh?
ヒットしないな。
I'm not getting any hits. Was this guy just trying to pretend to be smart and writing out some nonsense formula? It didn't make any sense. This formula has murdered the possibilities of the world. I have no idea what that means. Anyway, what was that link? Am I actually supposed to click on it, LOL? I thought you might be interested. You're sending a lot of them. That's too much. You're sending too much. This is too much. I don't have time for all this. This is very unusual for you to be sending even a third of that. Even if the initial link sending was normal, and even if you were somebody to be trusted, even a third of this long fucking list is, well, to use the common vernacular that all the kids use nowadays, sus. He typed in several. Oh, that's a lot more than several. That's many. At blinding speed. Yeah, that also concerns me. It's like when you show too much skill at a mundane thing. That's a bit of a red flag. What was this guy's deal? Was he just entertaining himself by trying to scare me? Was he a buddy of Grimm's? This Lunar yawns into the microphone. Everyone's like, just go to sleep. I'm like, I'll get to sleep, okay? Everyone's like, why don't you just record when you wake up instead of before you go to bed? I don't know. I just felt like it. And they were having fun with me? I felt the gaze again and looked around the room. But of course, there was nothing there but a filthy dark room. The same as always. Hopefully the picture links being sent are just pictures of us. I felt a strange sense of terror. Feeling like you were constantly being watched kept you from ever truly relaxing.
僕を見るな。
Don't look at me. When I said the words, I could tell my voice was shaking. My old filthy room felt like something completely deserted now. They say that sometimes, after you watch a horror movie or TV show, or hear a friend tell you a scary story, even a place you know well, like your own house, will start to seem strange and terrifying, and you'll be too scared to even go to the bathroom alone at night. Right now, I was experiencing something just like that.
くそ、釣られたりす
I'm
るもん
not
か。
letting you trick me. Shaking, I leaned toward the monitor and... suddenly felt my right hand index finger tense up as I clicked one of Shogun's links. Hey, no. To be honest, I had no idea why I'd done that. It wasn't like my hand moved on its own or anything like that. It was as if I had done it without thinking. That was the only way I could describe it. Basically, you got a little tired and you saw... It's like you play a game and you just sort of like, okay, let's run here. It's sort of autopilot mode. You can do that when you're a bit of a tired state. If anyone's ever played a video game for many hours on end, or gone a long period of time in sleep deprivation, I think you'd understand. Who else out there is a gamer, or has worked lots of overtime hours? It felt like exactly the wrong thing to do, but still, I found myself clicking it, and as if the motion was completely natural. What the hell is this? I found myself staring at what seemed to be some kind of strange work of art. Something that looked like a porcupine, or a pincushion nailed to the wall in the shape of a cross. And beneath the porcupine, or pincushion, or whatever the hell it was, there was a pool of something red and black. Seems a little excessive. There were also all these little piles of something that kind of looked like garbage. What the hell was this? The world of some self-proclaimed avant-garde artist? You know, one of those guys who'd make something disgusting and then say, with a completely straight face, I wanted to give expression to the chaos of this world. I'm not interested in that modern art crap, guys. It was strange, though. It wasn't really a Guro image. It looked Guro-ish, but that was as far as it went. So why? Why did it feel so real? Why did it feel like I was right there, watching it happen? Could a hallucination make you smell blood so intensely that you wanted to throw up? Could a hallucination smell so strong you wanted to vomit? I started to feel pain in my temples. The urge to vomit wouldn't go away. I tried to grab the mouse, but my hands were shaking too badly. My hand slipped off the desk and ended up grabbing the thing's cord instead. I moved it up the cord and put it back on top of the mouse pad, and then closed the image. As I breathed a sigh of relief, I saw... Whose eyes are those? I glared at the minimum necessary school schedule I'd created. I'd never gotten to see Bloodtoon in real time last night, of course. I saw it when it was up to mewtube, so it didn't matter. But I still didn't feel any better. The last thing Shogun had said before he'd left. It was like he knew how scared I was of God's gaze. It couldn't possibly be a coincidence. I tried to think of how he might know. Had my personal info linked? Or was this somebody from ESO who was out to get me? A godlike player like me who had lots of friends, but also lots of enemies. Well, most of those enemies were just haters, though. You know, guys who were jealous of Nightheart's strength and charisma. It was best just to ignore them, I'd always found. No, that wasn't what was important now. Even after I logged into ESO, I couldn't stop wondering who he was, to the point where I couldn't even concentrate on my grinding. And to make matters worse, today was
最悪の日だ.
The worst day possible. It was unfortunately a day where I had to go to school. I didn't want to go. But if I didn't follow my schedule, it might come back to bite me later. I might even end up being held back.
眠いのに。
I'm so sleepy, too. I did my best to stifle yawn as I staggered down the road to school. At my walking speed, it would take about 10 minutes to get there. Once I started moving, I only felt worse. I felt exhausted. It was weirdly hard to breathe, and there was an awful sweat dripping from every pore in my body. This always happened whenever I went to school. Why did I have to go to school at all, when all it meant was suffering? I mumbled to myself as I stared down at the white lines on the asphalt, but I kept going. My route took me through Shoto Park. Once I was through the park, the school was right there. As I walked by the lake, I could see an older couple out for a morning walk, and a salaryman sitting on a bench, reading the sports section. For a park on the outskirts of a major downtown area like Shibuya, it was quiet. It was a perfect place to relax. I sat down on one of the benches. Every day I went to school. I would always sit here in the morning and eat my breakfast, surrounded by leaves that were gradually beginning to change color, and watch the placid surface of the lake. Breakfast was a pastry I'd bought at the local convenience store. This would keep me going until evening. I never ate lunch. Nobody wanted to eat with a creepy otaku like me, and I certainly didn't want to eat alone if everyone else was in a group. I washed down the cream-filled pastry with a can of soda and stared up at the sky. The sky above Shibuya was always kind of cloudy, and never totally clear. This was true no matter what season it was. My family's home was just a few stops away from Shibuya by train, but something made it feel like a whole different world. Oddly enough, the gray sky didn't bother me. I didn't know why, but it didn't. I looked at my watch, checked the time. I needed to get going, or I'd be late. Being late was the one thing I absolutely couldn't do. If I wanted to only go to school 2.5 times a week, then I needed to make sure I didn't stand out at all costs. I needed to be like the air we breathe, completely invisible. I needed to avoid the DQNs, the delinquents and thugs I hated more than anything, and the teachers, and spend my day undisturbed in peace and quiet. That was my goal for my school life. Sume Academy. That was the name of the school I attended. It wasn't a very old school. It had been built within the last 10 years. This meant the building was clean and new. It was often used as a set for TV shows within a school theme. The uniforms had been designed by some famous designer, and a lot of the dumber girls had chosen this school specifically to wear them. It was, in theory, a college prep school, but the school's test scores were slightly above average, at best. The school's rules were really strict, but they were constantly telling prospective students about how much they respected student autonomy and independence. It was pretty funny how they tried to trick you. Well, I guess the rules were really there in name only. Nobody enforced them. So maybe they weren't trying to trick you after all. After all, even if somebody like me, who only went to school 2.5 times a week, could still graduate. By the time I arrived at the school gate, there were enough students around me that it was starting to get noisy. I don't like crowds, so I kept my head down as I walked through the gate. In my mind, I was repeating, please, nobody talk to me, over and over. I had a sister, a year younger than me, who was also a student here. She would commute from home. Any day I ran into her was a disaster. Fortunately, I didn't see her today. I made it safely to my classroom. I slunk into my seat without letting my eyes meet anybody else's. For a moment, I thought that some of the girls who were chattering near me looked my way, but it was just for instance. They quickly returned to their conversation without saying a word. I knew they were all thinking that I was a weird, creepy loser. But if you ask me, you 3D girls are way creepier than I am. If you find me creepy, just don't look at me. Just pretend I'm not here. Just do that, and I'll live my life without bothering any of you. If you DQNs decide to keep calling me creepy all the time instead, that's your problem, not mine. That's what I always say. I just can't understand it. Maybe you want attention from the people you call creepy. Is that it? I stayed in my seat, staring down silently at the surface. I'm out of breath. One moment. I'm back. I apologize for that. I had to use a nailer.
Yo, Daku.
Yo, Daku! Out of nowhere, somebody slapped me lightly on the back. I jerked and then looked up, annoyed. Is today one of the days you come to school? You know, I've been a little bit too distracted by the story and everything to notice this up till this point. The game has music, and I'm sure it's really good music. Unless it just got louder now. Like, I'm pretty sure there's been music earlier and I just really haven't been paying attention to it. Maybe I should buy the OST to this game? That way I can just listen to the music. It does seem like it's getting a little bit more complex, a little bit more lively. The longer we chill and just listen to it. It's probably a really good soundtrack to this game. Seems a lot of these visual novels really do have good aesthetics to both music and to character design. Also, he is cute.
Misumi-kun.
Mizume. It was Daisuke Mizume, my classmate. He was standing there with a friendly smile on his face. Actually seems more quizzical, but I can see the friendliness there. He was handsome. I mean, I was just talking about that. And supposedly, girls really liked him. Good for you, man. Congratulations. Happy for you. He was also a self-proclaimed playboy, who, according to him, was always dating several girls at once. Okay, I mean, that's... Yeah, I mean, it's your call, man. But good for you, I guess. From my perspective, he was a man who'd completely given himself over to the DQN side. He wasn't somebody I wanted anything to do with, but... Also, the voice acting is nice. Also, he's blinking. We can see that. That's cool. I remember one time, like, a community post was talking about the whole Song of Memories. It was a game that came out in, like, 2017. It's a visual novel. And what's interesting is that at that time, I don't think VTubers existed yet. Like, I don't think VTubers even existed. But the type of interface for the NPCs in the game, it was definitely something akin to what's like VTuber stuff, but it was like the very earliest gen VTuber stuff. So like the old, and of course technology keeps not only improving, but improving at an exponential rate. Heck, look at AI stuff. So yeah, everything's just, technology not only keeps growing, but it also, and that's all kinds of technology, mathematics, sciences. Granted, I feel like some modern video games kind of get kind of shitty. Just because I feel like people, they rely too much on the computer to do certain things, they just get lazy. I'm just saying, I feel disappointed by a lot of modern games. But at the end of the day, hey, I'm lucky enough to have such a vast array of video games to play. Then again, I still appreciate old school games on the NES, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis, the original PlayStation and PS2. So, heck, if I started talking about like various games or OSTs I think are awesome, I'd probably be talking forever. Then I would also eventually just sort of space out, get distracted, or fall asleep. And he's like, oh, would you fall asleep because it's boring? I'm like, no. Granted, I understand it's boring to other people, but like me, I would find it very fascinating, interesting. It's just, it's kind of like the idea, like, I can be sociable. It's just I'm an introverted person, so even though I do get lonely, I also tend to have a little bit of time to myself from time to time. You know, there's a balance to that, and, well, I don't think I'll ever be able to get the right balance to that I want. Both between my own emotional shortcomings and just, well, the real world is not so accommodating. But basically, the way to put it is, I can be sociable, but it's exhausting. And it wears me out so quickly to the point that it's like, almost like an emotional burnout to where like, it's just enough interaction with people. Like, on the one hand, I want it, but on the other hand, it can exhaust me so quickly to where I'm like, I'll just run out of energy and I'm like, I just want to go to bed. Does anyone else feel that way? Like, you enjoy being sociable and things like parties and stuff, but it's just doing that and talking to people is just, it, both physically and mentally, is just, it wears you out and you lose the ability to focus and you just sort of like start spacing out. I don't know, maybe that's like kind of like what you would imagine it is for people like that smoke weed or something, though I'm not sure how that would work. I've never smoked weed or had THC in my system, so heck, I've never smoked anything in my life. Hell, I've never done a single illegal drug in my entire life. I've had prescription medications, but that was always because, you know, there was something going on that I absolutely needed the medication for. There's even a few times where I had to take enough of a painkiller that my kidneys didn't really care for it, but that's because, well, I was hurt and the doctor, gave me the medication for that reason. Why does my life consist of me getting easily tired or injured or sick all the time? Hell, if I was a Saiyan, I'd have superpowers from all the fucking Zenkai boosts. Then again, if it wasn't for modern medicine, I would have died over 1,000 times by now. Hell, I even had palsy at one point. That was interesting. I was back for like 2 weeks when I was 13 and my body recovered. Still, that sucked. I'm just saying, I can be socially interactive, it's exhausting. Same way, I could talk about video games and stuff I'm interested in, but not only can I not stay on one subject for very long, but the more I talk about something or get into, it's just eventually. And not just me talking right now, it's my lungs are running out of air. But it's just, I don't know, my ability to think just starts fading out. And I'm just it's kind of I've tried to do the Vampire Survivors type games. I just sort of don't talk while I play those type of games, and I sort of zone out. But yeah, I don't know. What's another way to describe it? I don't know, say if you eat a bunch of bacon or milk or something, you eat a bunch of food and you go into a food coma sort of thing, where you're groggy and I don't know. But you guys get what I mean. Even if I'm talking about something I'm really passionate about and really care about, even if it's something that people are that's not that important, it's just a video game, or just the plot of Dragon Ball Z or something, or stuff to do with Akira Toriyama, or that. It's just talking about Dragon Ball Z, or the plots of various video games, or how you combine certain things, or how different soundtracks use different things. It doesn't matter how excited or interested I might be in it. After enough time talking about it, I just sort of lose energy, and I'm just it's not that I'm bored of it, it's just that I feel like I need to pass out. If that makes any sense. Does anyone else feel that way? Anyway, I should get back to the game. Man, you always look so gloomy. Up all night playing games? Didn't get enough sleep? No. He was the one person in class who always tried to talk to me. Well, that's nice of him. I appreciate it, thank you. Also, you are easy on the eyes. I'm just saying, he's really pleasant to look at. He and I had nothing in common either, in terms of personality or hobbies, but for some reason he was always trying to talk to me. That's cool, thank you, I appreciate you talking to me. Even if I'm, not always of the mindset to talk to you. I still appreciate it even if I'm, insane. You said if. Okay, fine, fuck you. It'd been this way ever since we became classmates at the start of the year, and I'd never managed to figure it out. If I was a girl, I could understand it, but why would he want to talk to a guy? I mean, I know you're a hikikomori, and you never leave your house, but try to speak up when you're answering somebody's question. If I could, I would. Just talking to a 3D person was suffering. I got so nervous my voice wouldn't even come out right, and since I wasn't used to talking, I would always stammer. I'd get so scared of saying something stupid and being made fun of that I hated talking to anybody. You don't understand my pain. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, and I'm not a hikikomori either. Hikikomori is somebody who never leaves their room 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's not who I am. I can understand you getting nervous around a girl, but if you keep acting like that when I talk to you, people are going to think we're both gay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm bisexual. I like both of you. game has now devolved from, hey, Lunar Dee Eight's gonna play a game where it's like the Lunar Dee Eight Life Simulator, where we're just doing stuff on the computer and stuff, and we're playing a horror game that's going to like have lots of scary psychological stuff going on. Now it's like, hey guys, this is a person whose name I can't remember already because my short-term memory is gone to shit and seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. But hey, this is now, hey, let's listen to Lunar Dee Eight talk about how pretty he thinks somebody is and how attractive the person is. That's what this has devolved into. There's no structure to this anymore. It's not like, hey, let's have an amazing, interesting story with horror elements. It's no. It's just, hey, let's listen to Lunar Dee Eight being gay. I said bi, so I'm both gay and straight. I like both this guy and women. On the one hand, part of me hoping later on this is a hentai game. On the other hand, I'm hoping it's not, because then, well, I'd have to edit things. Because I can't show certain things on YouTube. Yes, I called it mewtube, the thing that I said earlier. We then sat there for 3 hours as Lunar Dee Eight got lost in his eyes. I can't remember your name, by the way. Most games have like a little, block on the left side of the captions, giving me a constant reminder of who I'm talking to. I can't remember your name. Insert Squidward's voice here. Oh no, he's hot! Well, actually, in my case, it's like, oh yes, he's hot. But seriously, it's just like, it's gotta come off as so fucking lame. It's like we're here for a fucking horror game, psychological novel, and it's literally just become, hey, let's listen to Lunar Dee Eight be gay. Honestly, I'm okay with that. He's hot. And I like his voice. And he's hot. Okay. Well, we've had enough lewd thoughts. While everyone's just there in silence back, like, all the people that are viewing this are like, well, the people viewing this, nobody's going to watch this. That being said, everyone watching this is like, Lunar, do you know how awkward it is? We're all just sitting here in complete silence as you're having sexual fantasies with the guy on the screen. And I'm like, yeah, but he's hot. Okay, moving on. Was he lying about dating those girls? And he was actually into men? I pulled my body away from him, trying to put some distance between us. In doing so, I almost fell out of my chair. So I quickly grabbed onto my desk. What the hell are you doing? Misumi. Okay, that's his name. Misumi? Are you gay? Huh? Of course not. Did you forget about all those girls I'm dating? I mean, you can be both. I'm both. You're right. Ew. You scared me for a second. And what's more... Okay, what's up with that smile? I feel like it's mischievous. What's up with this? I'm concerned. I'm muy concernicus. Misumi looked around to see who was nearby before suddenly lowering his voice. He gave me a mischievous grin. See? I can understand body language and facial expressions. As much as anyone else might disagree, I'm actually very good at understanding that. I think I'm actually better at understanding that than most people. I slept with my third girl from this class yesterday. You want to hear who it was? No, not really. Ah, come on. Yeah, I had to stop. I wanted to hear the voice acting. Act interested. It was Tanaka. Who's Tanaka? I'm never here! It's almost October and you don't even know the names of your classmates yet? I don't know what... I assume we started in early September? Well, I guess if you're not into 3D women, it makes... There's like 30 people in this room. I'm here 2 days a week and we've been here about 3 weeks this year so far. How would I know anyone? He sighed and shrugged his shoulders. The one thing I could say for him was this. He'd never insulted my hobby, that is, my love of 2D characters. He never called me creepy, it wasn't his thing. But he never said anything about it. It wasn't his thing, but he never said anything about it. In that respect, maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all. Maybe that was why he talked to me. I actually tried to talk back. It's not a marathon, man. I mean, shouldn't there be like an emotional connection? But I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to judge you. Lunar, are you thinking about fucking him again? Yes! Everyone in the comments it's like, Lunar, stop being gay! And I'm like, but he's hot. Okay, let's continue the game. That takes care of almost all the cute girls in this class. I'm thinking of moving on to the girls in the next class over. Maybe he was a bad guy after all. At least that's what the girls would think if they heard him. Is she dead? There's this really cute girl in Class D who almost never comes to school. That's kinda hot, don't you think? Oh, I guess you would say it's moe, not hot, right? Don't use that word when you don't even know what it means. He's trying! Anyway, I know you don't care about this stuff, so I'll stop talking about it. So, you heard about the new gen? Looks like his eyes are a mix of green and blue. Interesting. To be honest, I was really surprised to hear that from him. I thought he was only interested in chasing skirts. I couldn't imagine him looking at a newspaper or reading the news. That group dive? They say it was actually a murder. Huh? I mean it. It was in the Sports Tokyo. Wait, Sports Tokyo was the source? Who could believe a thing written that? Okay, so it's one of those, what's it called, tabloids? And anyway, I already knew that, and also I didn't care. What? And get this, the killer was a girl. And a hot one, too, according to the witnesses. I wonder if it's the girl who doesn't show up to class often. A girl. As I looked at the excitement on Misumi's face, I finally understood it. So that's what compelled him to actually pick up a newspaper. It was a girl. It only made sense, I thought to myself. Wait, did that mean he was okay with dating a murderer? As long as they were cute? I could see myself going for that if it was a 2D girl, but... Misumi was looking out the window and off into the distant sky. He looked like he was on the cusp of achieving some great enlightenment.
どんなやつだろうな、犯人って。
I wonder what the killer's
本当に
like.
美人なのか。
Is she really hot, you think?
会ってみて。
I'd love to meet her. I feel like you probably will, and I'll be sad when you die. Also, when he said enlightenment, for some reason I went to the second Ace Ventura movie. You know, when Jim Carrey was at that monastery. I enjoy Jim Carrey movies, okay? Don't judge me. This was a man who made all his decisions with his little head. I was sure of this now.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも、俺みたいないい男に会ったら、コロッと惚れちゃうぜ。
He's gonna die, and that's gonna suck. She might kill other people, but she wouldn't kill me. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna get proved wrong really quickly. I'm sure of that. I mean, just look at how cool I am, right? Even a serial killer will fall in love with me. You're gonna die. And that's gonna suck. And then she wouldn't kill him, he thought. Man, talk about an optimist. I found myself feeling scared by how confident he looked. I don't really care. I don't know, apparently people like confidence in people. But, yeah, I don't think that really works when it comes to people that might kill you. でもよ、興味ないっつったって。Sure, maybe not, but you know she's probably around this town somewhere, right? You might pass her by any minute. Yes, I know. Maybe Misumi was the killer. No, that was probably impossible, but I couldn't rule out the possibility that the killer was somebody from the school. If that turned out to be true, to be the case, maybe I could come up with something about how I'd gotten PTSD and be able to graduate without having to go to school.
なあ、今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かね。ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ。
Hey, want to go see the crime scene with me? That's a terrible idea for a first date, man. Everyone's like, please stop. I'm like, I can't. It's within walking distance of the school. They say you can still see the blood. I didn't feel interested in the slightest. My goal for today was to get through my classes without any trouble, go home to Saraton, and then go back inside the world where I was God.
もう小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
Kobashi and Hasegawa said they went already too.
本当に興味ないんだ。
I mean it, I don't care. Hello? Transition? What is happening? I hated to disappoint Misumi when he was so excited, but I had no intention of going. I opened my mouth to squeak out some excuse, but he wasn't listening.
そしたら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻ってくるってよく言うだろ。
Maybe I'll run into her when we get there. You know, they say the criminal returns to scene the crime and stuff.
で、
I guess you'd be our next target then. Atone for your sins with death.
みたいな。
Like that?
罪状はそうだな。
Your sins can be, I don't know, being a hikikomori, I guess? I'm not a hikikomori. I tried to protest, but I worried that he might hate me or try to bully me, and just gulped down my words. I bit my lip and looked away from him. I found myself looking around the room and saw something written on the blackboard. At first, I didn't really care what it was. All I noticed was that there was some writing there. But the more I looked, the more something seemed wrong. Huh? Finally, I leaned out of my chair. Move out of the way. Ow! What's gotten into you? Okay. That's concerning. So that was written by the Shogun person. So whoever the Shogun person is, they are in my class, and they know who I am. Well, that'll be interesting later in the game. I pushed past Mizumi and walked to the blackboard. When I saw the words written on her eye, I felt like my heart was strangling itself in my chest. Whose eyes are those? classrooms. The words I always silently said to myself whenever I felt the gaze of God. I'd never told them to anyone else. There was no one to tell them to. Not even Misumi. Nobody in this class could possibly know that I said that phrase all the time. Who? Why? For what reason? I spun around and looked around the classroom. Only Misumi was paying attention to me. Everyone else was talking to themselves, or reading manga they weren't supposed to have at school, or sleeping at their desks. Who? Who wrote this? When did they do it? Was that already on the blackboard when I come in? I couldn't remember. Usually I didn't pay attention to what was on the blackboard. Hello? What's gotten into you? Misumi walked up to me and grabbed me by the shoulders to shake me. Are you listening? Yo, Taku. It didn't matter who'd written them. It was just a coincidence. People use these words all the time. It was just some stupid scribbling. Yeah, just some stupid scribbling. I tried to tell myself that, but I was still really scared. I never did figure out who'd written them. I wanted to go around the class and ask them, but I didn't have the courage. Before long homeroom began, the teacher came in and asked, "Who wrote this on the blackboard?" He sounded annoyed and erased them. It was really creepy, but I decided I was going to force myself to behave normally. If I let myself seem scared, I'd just be admitting the message had something to do with me. And it didn't, okay? It was just a coincidence. I kept telling myself that over and over until it was time for me to go to a net cafe after school, just like I'd planned to do. The cafe's name was At Cafe. It was the one place I liked going. It was along Center Street in Shibuya. There were a lot of loser salarymen and DQN 3D girls here. But you got your own personal room, so it didn't matter. The room I was in was room 37. It was kind of my personal spot. It was the one farthest back in the cafe. It sucked when you wanted to get some free soda, but it was relatively quiet because not many people came by. I would always come here once or twice a week on my way home from school so that I could log into the ESO under a different ID. It was my way of relaxing. Nightheart was too well known, you see. I enjoyed being famous, but having to be the hero everyone looked up to all the time was stressful. That's why I like to play with a different avatar sometimes. This character was a girl. Her name was Lislot. Lislot didn't really have many big accomplishments to her name, although whenever I played as her, I made sure other characters got the glory. I worked out some stress by playing for 3 hours. Just grinding, never really doing any hard content. Then I talked about dumb stuff and some naughty stuff with the rest of my guild. By the time I left the cafe, it was almost 9 p.m. Center Street at this hour was filled with DQNs. They would sit on the sidewalk like they owned the place, eating fast food and laughing in their disgusting voices. It made me want to vomit. And if you made eye contact with them, they'd get mad and attack you. They were barbarians. No, they weren't even human. They were worse than that. They were animals. They didn't even have a shred of common social decency or intelligence. I wish they would all just die. I meant it too. It wasn't something I was just saying. But you know, just dealing with them was a waste of time, and I wasn't the kind of guy to waste time. So I quickly left Center Street. After leaving that cafe, I would always stop at either the nearby Manga Drake, Dorake, or the Anime 8. Anime 8? That was a little further away. Today I decided to go to Anime 8. Anime 8. And headed for the station's south entrance. There were far fewer DQNs here. Really, Center Street was pure chaos. Just walking through there made it really hard to breathe if I could have. I would have rather never gone there at all. I wish they'd just tear the whole place down, leaving only At Cafe and Manga Dorake. Anyway, it was time to look at some manga and doujinshi. Oh, the Blood Tunes 5th DVD was probably about to go up for pre-order. At some point, I found myself on a narrow street in Maruyamacho. This was the route I used on my way back to the base from Anime 8. I forced myself to blink several times. Then I took a look inside my bag. There were a few textbooks, along with a portable game system. I hadn't bought anything at Anime 8 today. Usually, I always made sure to buy at least one thing. I sighed and started to walk. From here, it was less than 15 minutes to the base. You didn't have to get that far from the station for all the lights and neon disappear, along with most of the people. At most, you saw middle-aged couples heading for the hotels, or salarymen heading to their homes nearby. It was quiet and calm. It was hard to believe that this was the same Shibuya as Center Street, with its hordes of DQNs. It was cloudy tonight, and the moon was hidden. The street seemed even darker than usual.
まただ.
Again. I knew the route well, with its filthy, dark street. But today, it felt strange, like I'd wandered into another world. Everything looked the same as always, but it felt like I was coming here for the first time. And there was this odd smell, like rotting garbage. I could feel the humidity clinging to my skin. If I hadn't known better, I would have assumed it had just rained. The air felt sticky.
いや、ちょっと待った。
No, hang on. What did I mean? Again. I'd felt a sense of Jamais vu before? Is it just a different way of doing deja vu in Japanese? I mean, technically I understand, there's deja vu and there's deja vu. Deja vu is where you do something that you've done thousands of times. Oh no, deja vu is the thing where you do something, but you get the feeling that you've done it before. But yeah, so deja vu is the thing where you do something for the first time, but you have the feeling that you've done it before. Deja vu is where if you've done something hundreds and hundreds of times, and then all of a sudden you're doing it, and it feels like it's the first time ever, to where it feels new and awkward. But this... How do I... Is it tips list? Yeah, it does say deja vu. It's originally a French phrase meaning already dreamed. It refers to a feeling that one has already experienced something, despite experiencing it for the first time. Okay, so it's just another way of writing deja vu. But apparently that's... Is that a phonetic way of writing it? I think that must be the phonetic way of writing it. That being said, Japanese first-person pronouns. Is that the tan thing? Not seeing tan anywhere here. I don't know. But yeah, but a deja vu is where you do something you've done before hundreds of times, but it feels like the first time. Damn it. I was getting reality and my delusions mixed up. That was what the psychologists on TV said would happen if you played too many video games. Either way, it felt like I was coming here for the first time. And that wasn't all. I felt a prickling on the back of my neck, a feeling like somebody was looking down on me. I wasn't imagining it. No matter how fast I tried to walk, the gaze kept following me. Somebody was watching me right now. Their gaze was so powerful I could physically feel it. I wanted to look back, but I decided not to. This was a game I sometimes played with myself. Whenever I heard a small sound or felt like somebody was watching me, I'd play the I'm not turning around that easy game. If I turned around, I lost. Usually whenever I felt that gaze, I had delusions about ghosts or monsters with incredibly scary faces. Yet through all 17 years of my life, I'd never turned around and actually seen something there. I'd kind of started to enjoy this game, since I knew I was probably safe. I'd listen for a moment, then raise an eyebrow in suspicion, and then I'd say a line from a manga. It wasn't that I was too scared to turn around. Okay? Hey! You want a piece of me? Whose eyes are those? Just kidding. I tried to desperately remind myself that I wasn't scared. But the next thing I knew, I'd stopped walking. I could feel the tension in the air change slightly. My face was damp with sweat, and my knees were threatening to buckle. I gave in and turned around. I lost the game. But of course, there was nobody there. Not even a passing car. Why did everything feel so strange all of a sudden? Oh. The ringing in my ears had stopped. I only noticed after the sound stopped. Until that moment there had been a sound like ringing in my ears. But I hadn't been aware of it at all. Usually that's an issue of blood pressure. Now I couldn't hear anything. It was a suddenly dead silent, far too silent for the middle of the city. It felt like any sound would be crystal clear. I closed my eyes tight to listen. I couldn't hear anything. This was weird. This was weird, right? Usually you could hear the sounds of distant trains, car horns, faint noise like that. So why? Were my ears broken? I wanted to scream as loud as I could. I felt like if I didn't, I'd go crazy. But I couldn't. It was so quiet. And it felt like if I broke that silence, something terrible would happen. Suddenly, a single sound shattered the silent world. I looked ahead and saw many shiny things lying on the dark ground. They were scattered all over the asphalt. Crosses. The moment I realized what they were, my legs unfroze and began to move forward. I picked one of them up. It was metal, and its long tip was sharp, like a needle. Okay, I'm back. I just need to stand up for a moment. I'll probably need to go to bed here in a bit. I was feeling a bit lightheaded. A stake. A nail. It was strangely shaped, so I'd mistaken it for a cross. I gripped the stake, dazed. I could hear it. A faint sound of some kind echoing. A cold sound. One that would make your blood turn to ice. It would start, then stop, then start again. I'm hoping that Misumi is not crucified by thousands of fucking crosses. But that's what I'm assuming has happened. I'm assuming we're going to see our friend Misumi hanging on the wall in a T pattern. We're going to see our friend Misumi crucified by thousands of piercings of very tiny crosses. And I don't want that to be the case. But I feel like that's at least the direction the game has led us to expect. I feel like that's what everyone else is expecting too. My legs kept moving forward. I walked on as if drawn to the source of the sound. Was it just a desire to see something scary? Maybe I wanted somebody to save me, to rescue me by plucking me out of this world of silence. It was like something from an old German fairy tale. A lot of those fairy tales are really fucked up. It's like two German children go outside. An owl eats their face. The end. What's the lesson? Never go outside? Don't touch grass? Which one was it again? Oh, right. The Pied Piper of Hamelin, where the piper leads over 100 children on a march. The sound is lute. It's supposed to be mice, right? Or snakes? The sound kept going. It was an awful sound. Like something hitting something else. As I walked on, it kept getting closer. It was coming from the back of the narrow alley. On the left. Once I rounded the corner, I'd see what it was. For some reason, I didn't think to turn around. The very idea of turning around never occurred to me. It was like I wasn't in control of my own body. I walked around the corner and saw a lot of red. In the darkness, brilliant red. Okay, I see a girl, and I see a guy, I think. That being said, I don't think it's Mizumi. I mean, my main reasoning is this. The bottoms of his feet are next to the bottoms of her feet, and I understand that still gives him a few inches of extra height, and he probably would have a height advantage over most girls. That being said, I don't think, unless she's like really short, and Mizumi's really tall, but he really didn't look like he would be that super tall. So I don't think that's Mizumi just because I think in general the frame of the person is way too tall. Also, the hair looks a bit too purple. So, and I can't really tell if that's a school uniform he's wearing. I mean, I remember Mizumi had, the school uniform had a blazer type thing and had a tie. So, I mean, there are some similarities. But I'm just saying I don't want it to be Mizumi. The most important thing we need to look at here is this. One, her hands. All the blood is over. Also, you see some on her hair and everything. Basically, looking at the location of the blood and her lack of, I know it's a terrible word used in this situation, animation, because it's a game, but the main point is she's not reacting. She's not moving. The person's way too calm for such a situation. If the person's not the killer, the only time you're not, you're either going to be running around frantically, or you're going to be shaking, or you're going to be catatonic. But even then, if you're going to be catatonic, your body posture is going to be different than that. Like, even if you're locked in place because you're in total shock and having a mental breakdown because of what's happening, and you're just sort of locked in place staring, your body posture is going to be different. Plus the location of the bloodstains and the concentration of it being where it is on the hands. She's the killer. Also, anyone else feel that from this angle, she looks like the Saraton girl? Which again, what does Tan mean? I have to look it up at some point. So why do you look like our anime character figurine that we have on our computer? Well, let's figure out what's going on. Let's take a drink of water. The first thing I thought was that I'd seen something like it before. Also, that it didn't look real at all. Maybe a few screws broke loose in my mind, and my senses had just become numb. In normal conditions, I would have screamed, fallen back on my butt, peed myself right there and there. It was something that looked like a porcupine or maybe a pincushion. Countless stakes were nailed into the wall. As I stared at it, I realized that red blood was pouring out from beneath the stakes. The brilliant red I'd seen was a pool of blood, faint light from the street lamps outside the alley. Just barely reached in, making the red glisten. There were also all these little glistening piles of something. They kind of looked like hunks of meat. I tried to swallow, but my throat was parched dry. There wasn't a single drop of saliva in my mouth. I'd realized the thing nailed to the wall by those stakes was a human corpse. This was so far removed from my everyday life, so brutal, so overwhelming. And the one who had done it, the one who had pounded all these stakes into the raw concrete, was a single young girl. She doesn't have super strength. Because even without the human fleshy person full of bones and shit in the way, driving metal into concrete takes a shit ton of strength. Even with a sledgehammer, that'd be difficult. How could I tell? Because she was standing right there in front of the corpse, holding stakes in her blood-stained hand. Her back was turned, so I couldn't tell what the look on her face was. This is the point where we slowly back away and leave as if we saw nothing. But the uniform she was wearing, it was Sume's. The awful smell like raw, rotting garbage clung to my nostrils, even more firmly. Every few seconds I felt like I was about to throw up. I put my hand over my mouth so that I wouldn't vomit. And then I finally realized where the sense of deja vu I'd been having came from. The pictures in Shogun's links. Is she Shogun? Is she Shogun? Is she in my class? I didn't realize I'd spoken aloud until it was too late. This would prove to be a fatal mistake. I saw the girl's shoulders twitch as she heard my voice. Then she slowly turned around. Her gaze pierced me. Her eyes were so flat and empty. That is an accurate description. Everyone's like, you notice the music? Yes. Yes, I noticed the music. The music is very fitting for however you would describe this. Thinking I should buy the soundtrack to this game. Interesting music. She had killed him. Oh! Hi there! I was just passing by. Don't mind me, I just need the clairvoyance spell from Skyrim because I get lost easily. I also have terrible short-term memory, so I'm sure I'll forget all of this. Like, I don't even remember what you look like already. So I'm just gonna go on my way and maybe stop at a Starbucks or something. And you'll never hear from me again. She looked at me with startled, wide eyes. Her expression then shifted to something that combined a smile with tears. And then...
よかった。
Well, okay then. Well, let's see where this goes. No, we're good, but sure. I'm so glad, she whispered. Glad? Glad about what? Why would anybody be glad about anything right now? It didn't make any sense. It was so bizarre, I felt a cold chill run down my spine, and quickly looked away. It suddenly occurred to me that I didn't want to get involved in anything weird. It's too late for that. We are past the point of no return on that. I couldn't talk to real girls anyway. I don't think this situation counts. I feel like even if you were the most charismatic person who was very good at social contact and talked to like 1,000 girls a day, this would still be a situation in which you're like, yeah, this is... I would feel like for any human being on the planet, if you don't feel social anxiety in this situation, there actually is something wrong with you. I feel like having social anxiety in this situation is a staple of being a normal human being. Also, she was a murderer. The cops were on their way. I was hungry too. I feel like one of these statements don't really belong. Also, why would the cops be on the way? They don't know anything about this. Nobody's called them yet. Also, again, the talking to real girls thing doesn't matter in this situation. It doesn't matter how much or how little social experience you have. This is a very far removed from reality situation where none of the normal social conventions apply anymore. But why are we suddenly worried? Hey, it's like, well, I have social anxiety. Also, this person's killing people. Also, there's traffic out there. Also, I like croissants. Yeah, time to go home. Time to leave. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Taku. Well, you know me. Suddenly, she said my name. I had to introduce myself. I'd never even seen her before. She's wearing our school uniform. We might be terrible at recognizing a lot of people, but here's the thing. 1. Other people have better short-term memory than us. 2. Other people attend the school more often, and if there's just like one person that hardly shows up to school, everybody's going to be aware of that person. We stand out. So, we may not know her, but everyone at the school basically knows us because, well, I mean, they're always talking about how weird and creepy we are. But, hey! She seems to at least be on friendly terms with us. I wanted to meet you. I mean, that's an understandable sentiment, but I feel like wrong place, wrong time? Her lips curled upward into a terrible grin, like a demon's. I screamed. And as I screamed, I ran. I kept yelling until my throat hurt, running as fast as I could. Just once I looked back, but she wasn't following me. Hey, we got to see the background! I was out of breath. I could hear the sound of my own panting. I was sitting in front of my own computer monitor, my whole body was soaked in sweat. All my clothes were too. What did I just see? Was that a delusion of mine? I still felt like I was about to throw up. So I went to the fridge, got a soda, and gulped down. So did our day at school ever actually exist? Was that all imaginary? What's actually occurring? Also, it'd be nice if I could zoom in, but you guys see that anime figurine right there? I'm pretty sure that was the girl. That was the same image of the... But yeah, I don't know what actually occurred, what's actually reality. Like, did we actually go to school? Did that conversation happen? Is it the same day? Am I still in that same conversation with Shogun? Did time never move? It was really a realistic delusion, if I did say so myself, but way too gory. I was even still out of breath. If it was just a delusion, how could I be out of breath? That was impossible. I assumed that we had a blackout sort of scenario. But I mean, this is still open. Is it the same day? Did we just pull the chat windows back open? I mean, routine and all that shit. I felt something strange in my right hand. I was holding it so tightly that my fingers turned white. Till the moment I hadn't even realized. It's probably one of those little cross things. My heart pounding, I slowly relaxed my grip and opened my palm. It was a single stake. Scared, I flung it at the wall. It was a stake from the delusion. I remember picking up one of the ones lying on the ground. Like I said, are we in the same day as yesterday, or is it today, or is it tomorrow? Did we like run and then we blacked that out, and we just kept holding the thing out of reflexive instinct, and then we just sort of came back to after we had a moment to calm down, sitting in our chair? What is reality? Did that conversation with the hot guy ever happen? But why? Wasn't that a delusion? I mean, granted, there's a hot girl in the delusion too, but, you know, she was killing people. And she's also, you know, my anime character figurine too. Then we have like 100 of those, so... I don't understand. It's impossible. This is making me feel dizzy. I'm such a nerd. I literally want to look through his anime collection. I literally want to have every one of those figurines like brought up to the forefront of the screen and be able to like look at... Heck, there's a toy store in Brave Fencer Musashi, the best game ever made for the PS1, in which you can buy toys and you can leave them in packaging, or you can take them out and rotate them and look at them. I want to bring each of these anime figurines up to the front of the screen and have them like zoomed in and twirling for us. Then again, I also want to be able to read the anime books and shit. But then, probably the one that's on the desk would be the first one to have like zoomed in on. Before I could, I slipped on one of the CD cases on the floor and lost balance. I reached out trying to grab something so I wouldn't fall. The only thing I reached was the shelf where all my wives resided. Are we knocking it over? Fuck! Damn it. By the time I realized what had happened, it was too late. It couldn't hold my weight, and I ended up falling back onto the floor as figure after figure poured down onto me. You know, kind of sounds like an otaku's dream. Oh, what happened? Well, I fell over and hundreds of waifus fell on me. Ugh, damn it, this was just awful. Everything was just awful. I moaned and started to see if my figures were okay. Well, yeah, of course a couple of them broke. Ah, the sword for my Ignis Ton from Jingai Makyo. But I mean, yeah, figurines are easily broken. It had broken clean in two. I'd bought that thing at an online auction and had to pay a whole bunch for it. Damn it all. Honestly, if only one figurine broke, that's still... Try to manage expectations here. I tried to put the sword back together, but even gluing it together wouldn't really fix it. It was worthless. Well, it's not like we were ever going to sell it. Also, it's better that we broke the sword and not the actual person. Come on, this is bullshit. I kicked my chair in anger, then I started to cry. Why did this have to happen to me? What did I do? I sat down and glumly stared at my now swordless Ignis. What was that? What happened? When the anger and confusion passed, I turned my mind toward the girl's face and the strange sight I'd seen. The fact that I was holding the stake meant the murder was real and not a delusion. I didn't want to admit it, but I had no choice. By tomorrow, the media would be in an uproar. I wanted nothing to do with it, nothing at all. If I got involved with her, no. It wasn't a her. It was some kind of monster. I'd be done for. I was already pretty close to screwed anyway. I'd taken a murder weapon home with me. The police might even think I was the killer. Really? One, does it really count as a murder weapon if there was like hundreds of them? I think we're arguing semantics. I'm just saying. There's hundreds of them. Does that still count? And that demon saw my face. There was no escaping this now. Next, she'd come after me. I needed to think. For my own sake, I needed to think so I could get out of this alive. Shogun equals mystery girl. Mystery girl equals killer demon. Sure of it. Those photos were a message predicting murder. There was no other explanation for how it happened, just like in the photos. First, the girl put together fake photos on the computer, simulating exactly how the murder would happen. That was her way of making the murder. No, I bet she'd want me to call it a work of art instead of a murder. Psychopaths like her always thought that way. That was her way of making sure it was perfect. She's probably going to kill Grim. She's crazy. But why me? How did she know that I was Nightheart? Anyway, how did she find out my name? What was I supposed to do? She'd be coming for me before long. She knew my name and my email, so she probably knew my address, too. I pulled my legs up onto the chair and crossed my hands over my knees, then buried my head between them. The murder I'd seen yesterday was sheer madness. Just the thought of it happening to me. And granted, like, we should be safe inside our AirPod, like our train railway container. I mean, there's only one way in, and we have alarm systems, and we can have guns. This is Japan. You're not allowed to own a gun. Also, your character's 17. So, again, it's Japan. Fuck. Well, let's assume it's not Japan, and we have the Second Amendment, and we have a shotgun. We're still technically safe in here. Well, no, in this situation, given the... honestly, we should be dying of ventilation issues already. But there should not be enough air in here for us to live. There has to be some sort of ventilation. The best way to take care of somebody in this situation would be to put some tubes into the ventilation and pump in anesthetic gas. What? I'm just saying that'd be the effective way to do it in this situation. I'm just saying it's such a closed and confined space. Yeah, but you also keep in mind anesthesiologists are some of the highest paid doctors because, you know, if you get the anesthetics wrong, you can kill somebody. You can make their internal organs, especially their lungs, stop working, and then people tend to die when they stop breathing. I pulled my legs onto the chair and crossed my hands over my knees, then buried my head between them. The murder I'd seen yesterday was sheer madness. Just the thought of it happening to me. Okay, so it's been another additional day. Is our anime figurine giving us a like, I'm assuming that's my anime figurine on the computer desk is giving us a pep talk. Like, it's okay. I'm right. Sarah. How am I supposed to pronounce it? But we'll go with Sarah. Sarah was lying in front of my PC monitor, smiling at me. Emotional support waifu. Music's nice. Also, she is very pretty. Yes, I'm enjoying the music. It's a really great soundtrack. Probably have to end the video here soon. It's getting a really long video.
タッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。したら、あの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ。
Taki, all you have to do is stay here in your room. Then the demon won't be able to get you, right? Where do we even go to the bathroom? Where do we shower? Everyone's like, well, otakus don't shower. I take 15 showers a week. I've never been to an anime convention, but I heard the thing people say, like, people go there and smell bad. Like, why? Why would you go... If you're going to an anime convention or something sociable like that, where you're going to be talking to people, why would you go there and want to smell bad? You would take an extra shower, and then you would wear extra deodorant, wear some extra clothes. I mean, if you're going to do something sociable, wouldn't you want to smell good? I don't get it.
So のうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。
If you wait long enough, the cops will catch her.
それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
Until that happens, don't believe anybody. Don't listen to anything anyone says.
悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはノー。
You know, demons like to take advantage of the weaknesses in people's hearts. So no letting your guard
で
down.
きるっしょ、タッキー。
You can do that, right, Taki?
でもセラ
But Sarah,
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし。
you know, the best way to win sometimes is to run away.
三次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。
Just forget about all the 3D world.
一切関係
Think of
ない
it
ことだ
as having nothing to do with you
気が楽
at
っしょ
all. Then it's much easier, right? Yay, emotional support waifu.
関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。
And if it has nothing to do with you, then there's no point in thinking about it at all.
いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまり誰にも攻撃されない。これぞ最強の自己防衛方法なわけさ。
Let me give you some advice. Hikikomori are the strongest people in the world. They don't have to interact with anyone, which means nobody can attack them. Being a hikikomori is the strongest way to protect
だ
yourself.
からタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
So, Taki, you should be a hikikomori. It's easy, right? I mean, guys, the voices in my head, my emotional support waifu, said to do it. But maybe you're right. That's why she was my wife after all. She was really smart. I leaned forward and gently grasped Sarah's thin waist. Even when my face got close to hers, Sarah-tan didn't seem upset at all. She just kept smiling.
ありがとうセイラ、おかげで勇気が出てきた。
Thank you, Sarah. I feel a lot better now.
そうだよ、3次元なんてクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。
That's right. The 3D world can eat shit. That demon probably doesn't even care about a creepy otaku like me. They literally messaged you. They literally are in your class. And they literally said they wanted to meet you. That seems like they care a lot.
僕安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
I'm safe. All I have to do is just watch my favorite anime and play ESO all day, and I'll be just fine.
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だぞ。
But don't forget what I said. No letting your guard down.
分かってるよ。
Yeah, I know. Don't believe in anybody. Don't listen to anything anyone says. Beware of anything 3D. That was all I had to do, and I'd be safe.
セイラにそこまで心配してもらえて、僕は幸せだわ。
I'm a lucky man to have Sarah care about me so much.
さてと、それじゃ気分直しにエンスロット。
Now then, time for some ESO grinding.
Lion Cross 約束は今
Flying cross, the promise is now.
Lion Cross 果たされるから
It's a very beautiful scene, though.
Lion Cross 解き放たれたライアンクロス出発
A clear voice echoed across Miyashita Park in the depths of the night. On top of the pedestrian bridge over Meiji Street, as the cars came and went below, the girl they called FES leaned up against the bridge's safety rail, seemingly oblivious to the noise below.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
She's very pretty as well. Followers guided by the light of the moon. She had no audience. If she'd done a real street performance, she probably would have at least 100 people stopping to listen. But for now, FES had chosen instead to hide herself behind a veil of night.
この場所へつながる幻の道
A path of illusions that leads to this place. All she had to do was stand here in the silence. Then she could be one with the darkness, and for a moment at least, freed from the filthy air of Shibuya. That's how it seemed to her anyway.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
The shouts soon turned to silence. Suddenly she looked up at the night sky. The clouds that had covered it were slowly parting, and a faint ray of moonlight trickled through. But the bright, dazzling lights of Shibuya were hiding the hesitant twinkling of the stars.
落ちてゆく暗速風に手と手を
Feeling peace as you fall, two hands clasping in the wind. FES closed her mouth and reached up toward the sky.
誰の目
Whose eyes are those? I spent the entirety of the next 24 hours in Baselard. I didn't even quit to eat. I dedicated myself fully to erasing Takumi Nishijo and being Nightheart. In ESO, I was a god. I didn't need to be scared of any demons. Everybody respected me. Well, at least we're getting a good view of the wallpaper I was wanting to see earlier. And it's definitely our anime waifu right there. I always thought how nice it would be if I could spend forever in this wonderful world. Well, I should probably try to save the game. And quit. I don't know how many choices we're going to actually get in this game, or if it's a completely linear kinetic game, or if it's a choices matters game that has multiple endings. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, guys. Later. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah, sorry for it being such a long video. I'll try to keep it short in the future. Bye.